China, Ming Dynasty, 1455, Xiao Shaoqin, the eunuch of the Secret Service Agency East Factory, his power was under one person and above 10,000 people. Xiao Shaoqin wanted to control the court officials. He recruited a group of ruthless assassins. Xiao Shaoqin set up a weapons research department in the Secret Service Agency East Factory. He specialized in designing all kinds of weapons for killing people. Xiao Shaoqin excluded dissidents from the court. Any official who opposed him, he would assassinate or arrest them. The arrested officials would become the subjects of experiments with newly invented weapons. Officials of the court, whenever they heard the name of the eunuch Xiao Shaoqin, they would be terrified. Yang Yuxuan, the Minister of National Defense, loved his country and his people. United with 3 other officials of the imperial court, reported Xiao Shaoqin's illegal actions to the emperor in secret, requesting the abolition of the Secret Service Agency East Factory, punished Xiao Shaoqin and his men. This secret report was intercepted by Xiao Shaoqin. Xiao Shaoqin immediately had Yang Yuxuan arrested. Yang Yuxuan was severely tortured. Xiao Shaoqin forged the emperor's order in front of Yang Yuxuan. Yang Yuxian was asked to hand over his official seal. Yang Yuxuan knew he would not have a chance to live. He chose to commit suicide by biting his tongue. Xiao Shaoqin then forged the emperor's order again. He accused Yang Yuxuan of hiding soldiers at the border and preparing for a rebellion. Yang Yuxuan's whole family was beheaded. Xiao Shaoqin wanted to kill Yang Yuxuan's close friend, Zhou Huaiyan, the army's chief coach. Xiao Shaoqin deliberately left Yang Yuxuan's 1 son and 1 daughter behind, sent them to the border, wanted to use this as bait to kill Zhou Huaiyan and his accomplices. Xiao Shaoqin used hunting as a pretext, personally led a team forward to the border, and let a team of cavalry follow behind secretly. Meanwhile, Zhou Moyan, a female swordsman entrusted by Zhou Huaiyan, she also arrived near the border. Zhou Moyan decided to ambush at the place where Xiao Shaoqin was going to pass. She wanted to assassinate Xiao Shaoqin. 2 officials escorted Yang Yuxian's 1 son and 1 daughter. They have arrived in the arid desert. Zhou Moyan's 2 friends went to rescue them. They were seen by Xiao Shaoqin. Immediately, he sent cavalry to arrest them. Zhou Moyan's 2 friends, one was named Taizhu and the other Havu, they were surrounded by Xiao Shaoqin's cavalry, just when they could not resist. The masked Zhou Moyan galloped over on a white horse. She held a sword in her hand. She stabbed at Xiao Shaoqin with all her might. Xiao Shaoqin stretched out his 2 fingers. With a flick, he deflected Zhou Moyan's sword. Xiao Shaoqin then used his inner strength to draw a sword from his guard. With a fold of both hands, the sword split into pieces of iron. Zhou Moyan did not dare to come any closer. 3 of Xiao Shaoqin's men, one after another, they attacked Zhou Moyan. Zhou Moyan was alone against the 3 men who took turns to attack. The more she fought, the braver she became, the more fearless she looked. Zhou Moyan saw that Taizhu and he who were already out of breath. She flew over with her lightness. He stabbed the men who surrounded Taizhu and he who, grabbed a horse, escaped with her 2 friends and 2 children. Xiao Shaoqin's men were ready to go after them. They were stopped by Xiao Shaoqin. After Zhou Moyan ran for several dozen miles, they saw that no one was coming after them. Then they stopped to rest. Zhou Moyan followed the agreement with Zhou Huaiyan. They would meet at the Dragon Gate Inn at the border crossing. Yellow sand fills the sky. The desert is surrounded by hundreds of miles. There is no human smoke. The Dragon Gate Inn is the only inn near the border. Every day, there are all kinds of Jianghu people stopping at the inn. The owner's wife, Jin Xiangyu, with her sexy body and delicate appearance, attracted countless lustful people. However, these lustful people, after coming to the inn, some people left the money in the inn, some people left their lives in the inn. Even though everyone knew it was a dark store, but no one dared to look for trouble with gold settlement, because Jin Xiangyu had a backer who was a border official. Just when Jin Xiangyu was flirting with the border official, Zhou Moyan's group came to the Dragon Gate Inn. The moment the border official went out, met Zhou Moyan's group, he took out the portraits of the wanted criminals. After comparing them, he found out that Zhou Moyan's group was not wanted criminals. He then turned around and left. Gold Settlement went to entertain Zhou Moyan personally. After using a Jianghu code word to test Zhou Moyan, she found out that Zhou Moyan did not look like a Jianghu, neither did she look like a government official. The buns Zhou Moyan bought were delivered. She took a bite of the bun, found the meat tasted a bit strange, let everyone stop eating. Jin Xiangyu's men knew the secret was leaked. They rushed over with knives, ready to kill Zhou Moyan and the others. He who threw a handful of chopsticks out, immediately, a large number of people fell. Zhou Moyan made a snowflake flying sword art. The people in the inn were all shocked by Zhou Moyan's superior swordsmanship. Jing Xianju knew that she couldn't win a fight. She then thought of a little intrigue. Jin Xiangyu took advantage of the darkness. She secretly went to Zhou Moyan's room to check the situation. When she opened the skylight of the roof, she saw Zhou Moyan taking a bath. Zhou Moyan noticed that someone was peeping. She threw the bath water over. Jin Xiangyu was splashed with water. Gold Settlement hit several willow leaf-shaped darts. They were nailed to Zhou Moyan's clothes. In this small room, the 2 women fought. Jin Xiangyu was stripped naked by Zhou Moyan, flying up to the roof. She simply sang a song on the roof. Zhou Huan arrived at the inn just in time. He saw the undressed Jin Xiangyu. He let out a hearty laugh. Jin Xiangyu heard the laughter and flew down. She wrapped her body with the wine flag of the inn. She also scolded Zhou Huan after she landed. But when she saw Zhou Huan's handsome face, she personally went to receive Zhou Huan. Jingyu asked Zhou Huan some code words in the Jianghu. Zhou Huan answered freely. Jin Xiangyu thought that with her beauty, Zhou Huan will fall in love with her like other men. I didn't expect Zhou Huan to enter the inn, just go straight to the guest room. When he went upstairs, he saw Zhou Moyan, who had been waiting for him for a long time. The two looked at each other and laughed. Zhou Huan stroked Zhou Moyan's face with his hand. The two looked at each other with affection, then they entered the room. After Zhou Huan entered the room, immediately, he treated Taizhu, who had been injured. The arrow that hit Taizhu was a barbed arrow. It was very difficult to pull out after being shot. Zhou Huan knew the manufacturing principle of barbed arrows. He quickly pulled out the arrow. Zhou Huan thought that the inn could not stay too long. Xiao Shaoqin would catch up. They needed to leave quickly. The weather in the desert area was capricious. It was clearly a sunny day. Suddenly there would be a violent storm. Just as Zhou Huan's group packed their bags, when they were ready to leave, Xiao Shaoqin's men Jia Ting and Xiao Tian came to the inn. They were arrogant and domineering. As soon as they entered, they were not to be messed with either. Jing Xianji yelled at them. Jia Ting, the leader, thought that in this place where there were no people around for hundreds of miles, as a woman, Jin Xiangyu could be the owner of an inn. She must have extraordinary ability. It is better not to offend Jin Xiangyu. So Jia Ting took out a piece of silver to Jin Xiangyu, to curry favor with Jin Xiangyu. In the middle of the night, Jia Ting arranged two men to check whether there was Zhou Huan among the people staying in the store. They were struck by lightning just as they reached the roof. It was raining heavily outside. Zhou Huan's group could only wait anxiously inside the house. Zhou Huan listened to Zhou Moyan play the flute. The sound of the flute blew up countless things on Zhou Huan's mind. He remembered that the country was in danger. The emperor was stupid and incompetent. From top to bottom, the officials appointed were all relatives. The whole country was tortured like a mental patient. In front of people stronger than themselves, they were like a dog, and in front of people weaker than themselves, they were like a vicious wolf. The officials of the whole country are as ferocious as hungry wolves. The people are treated like pigs, sheep, cattle, and horses. The people were alive in the morning, but there was no guarantee that they would be alive at night. The people were looking forward to the early death of the emperor, hoping for a hero to come and rescue them. Zhou Huan was bent on escaping beyond the border, to get away from the bloodshed of this country, to live a happy and free life with Zhou Moyan. The rain kept falling. Taizhu and he who listened to the heavy rain outside, long ago, they were already distracted. Zhou Huan decided to take them out to eat something together. They ran into Xiao Shaoqin's men Jia Ting's group. Jia Ting pretended that he didn't know Zhou Huan's. He approached Zhou Huan by telling fortunes. Two old Jianghu both knew each other's identity, but both pretend not to know each other. The two men used their lips and tongues as swords, competed with each other. Standing on the sidelines, Gold Settlement was afraid that they would fight. She stepped in front of them to relieve the situation. She called out to the shopkeeper Diabouer. She asked Diabouer to give the group a roasted lamb. They saw Diabouer's lightning-like knife skill. The whole sheep was boned, sliced, and plated in one go. The people in the store looked dumbfounded. Jia Ting was also amazed. I didn't expect that a small store in the middle of the desert. There was such a martial arts master. The rain that had been falling all night finally stopped. Zhou Huan discussed with the people, he have to take the two children and escape during the day. There were too many people and too many targets. Xiao Shaoqin would definitely find out, definitely cannot escape. I heard that the inn has a secret passage to the outside of the border. Why not go to the inn at night to find the secret passage? When we find the secret passage, then everyone can leave safely. At night, Zhou Huan quietly sneaked into Jia Ting's room, found that Jia Ting was not in the room, woke up the sleeping Lu Xiaochuan. The two competed a few moves later. Zhou Huan hit Lu Xiaochuan's acupuncture point. It turned out that Jia Ting had also sneaked into Zhou Huan's room. Jia Ting found that Zhou Huan was not in his room, so he set the mechanism in Zhou Huan's room. Didn't expect it. Jin Xiangyu sneaked into Zhou Huan's room. Jia Ting gave Jin Xiangyu an earful, warned Jin Xiangyu not to spoil Xiao Shaoqin's big event, otherwise, the Dragon Gate Inn will disappear. Jia Ting offered 1,000 taels of gold as a reward. Let Jin Xiangyu keep Zhou Huan. Jin Xiangyu loves money and sex. Immediately agreed to Jia Ting's request. Jia Ting returned to his room. He felt someone on the beam of the room, flew up to the beam, kicked Zhou Huan down. The two people competed for dozens of moves. There was no difference in level. Zhou Huan found the opportunity to escape from the room. Meanwhile, Taizhu and he who were attacked in the room, while protecting the two children, they were stabbed in the body by a sword. Zhou Moyan arrives in time. After flying out of the window, he attacked Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian was no match for Zhou Moyan. He fled after a few moves. Zhou Huayan's group felt that the inn was getting dangerous, so they decided to leave the inn immediately. They walked downstairs. When they reached the floor, Jia Ting's men blocked the door. The atmosphere in the inn became more and more tense. Both sides were ready to fight. Suddenly, the door was pushed open from the outside inward. The officer guarding the border crossing entered the inn with his men. Jing Xianjiu knew that the savior had come. She hurriedly greeted the official into the middle of the crowd. When the official saw Zhou Huayan, the more he saw him, the more he looked like a wanted criminal of the court. Zhou Huayan took out the token she had stolen during the night. She said that she and Zhou Huayan's group were all Chao Shaoqin's men. They were here to catch the wanted criminals. The moment the border officials were ready to arrest Jia Ting's group, Lu Xiaochuan took out several thousand taels of silver tickets. Give it to the border officials. China from ancient times to today, all officials, as long as they see money, just like a prostitute seeing a rich man, everything is good to discuss. Zhou Huayan sneaked into Jia Ting's room again. A secret entrance was found in the room. At this time, Jia Ting returned to the room. Zhou Huayan hurriedly hid in the secret passage, but slipped into the kitchen. It scared the kitchen. Jing Xianjiu came. Zhou Huayan told Gold Settlement everything. He asked Jin Xiangyu to help them reach outside the border through the secret passage. Zhou Huayan was willing to give her 1,000 taels of gold as payment. Jin Xiangyu said that she wanted the money as well as the person. Zhou Huayan understood what Jin Xiangyu meant. Zhou Huayan said it was okay to ask for people, but the marriage ceremony must be held. Zhou Huayan explained to Qiu Moyan and Taizhu and Hatu it was to be on the wedding night. Let Jin Xiangyu reveal the location of the secret passage. After Qiu Moyan heard this, there were 100 flavors rolling around in her heart, but she believed that Zhou Huayan was a gentleman, willing to support him. By evening, the inn was buzzing with activity. Jia Ting felt baffled. I wonder what game Zhou Huayan is playing. Jia Ting congratulates Zhou Huayan. Zhou Huayan asked Jia Ting to be the witness. Jia Ting agreed with all his heart. All the happiness inside Jin Xiangyu shows on her face. Qiu Moyan had a hard time saying anything. She kept reminding Zhou Huayan and Jin Xiangyu to enter the room early and stop the people who wanted to haunt the wedding room. In order to stall for time, Qiu Moyan compared wine with the people in the inn. She never drinks. She picked up a jar full of wine and poured it directly into her mouth. The tears in the corners of her eyes could not stop flowing down. After Zhou Huayan and Jin Xiangyu entered the bridal chamber, no matter how much Zhou Huayan begged, Jin Xiangyu refused to tell the location of the secret passage. Jia Ting learned of Zhou Huayan's plan. He quickly sent someone upstairs to spy on Zhou Huayan. After waiting for a long time, Zhou Huayan still hadn't returned. The grumpy he who finally broke out. He directly fought with Jia Ting's men. Qiu Moyan thought she couldn't stay at the inn any longer. She told Taizhu and He to take the two children and leave the inn first. After Taizhu and He rushed out of the inn, they encountered Chao Shaoqin's black-clad cavalry. Arrows were shot from all sides. Taizhu and He died on the spot. Zhao Tian, who was chasing after them, was also shot dead. Qiu Moyan was also shot with an arrow. Taizhu and He covered the two children with their bodies down. The two children survived. Zhou Huayan got rid of the entanglement of the golden encrusted jade. With sword in hand, he fought with Jia Ting and Lu Xiaochuan. Jin Xiangyu saw that all of her men were killed by Jia Ting. She was very angry and joined in the fight. Lu Xiaochuan was kicked into the stone mill by Jin Jianjiu and was ground to a pulp. After Jia Ting was sprayed by Lu Xiaochuan's blood on his face, he was also killed by Zhou Huayan and Jin Fengyu jointly. After the battle was over, it was also dawn. The wounded Qiu Moyan took the two children with him, returned to the inn. Zhou Huayan was heartbroken, healing Qiu Moyan's wounds. They both looked at each other with affection. At this time, Chao Shaoqin had arrived at the Dragon Gate Inn with his team. Chao Shaoqin asked his men to surround the inn. First, he shot a burst of arrows into the inn. Jin Jianjiu rushed out alone first. She was almost killed by the arrows. Qiu Moyan rushed over in time. She saved Jin Xiangyu. Jin Xiangyu led the group to escape from the secret passage. After getting out of the secret passage, a red belt of Zhou Huayan was accidentally torn off by the child. The belt was blown into Chao Shaoqin's hand by a strong wind. Chao Shaoqin immediately rushed over with his cavalry. Jin Xiangyu used willow leaf-shaped dart, shot Chao Shaoqin's cavalry. Chao Shaoqin rushed over with his sword. Jing Zanjiu told Diao Buer to take the two children and go first. The three of them stayed behind to deal with Chao Shaoqin. Sun, desert. High winds, for men fighting in the desert. The sky is dark. Fighting for a long time, Zhou Huayan was stabbed by Chao Shaoqin. Qiu Moyan was also stabbed by Chao Shaoqin and fell to the ground. Jin Xiangyu was also hit by Chao Shaoqin's palm. Zhou Huayan, Jin Xiangyu and Qiu Moyan could not even beat Chao Shaoqin. The wind and flying sands were getting stronger and stronger. All four of them were caught in the quicksand. Chao Shaoqin moved freely in the quicksand. He charged at Zhou Huayan with his sword. Qiu Moyan pushed Zhou Huayan out of the quicksand with one palm. Chao Shaoqin stabbed her in The chest, Zhou Huayan, slowly sinks into the quicksand. Zhou Huayan flies up, a sword stabbed at Qiao Shaoqin. Zhou Huayan watched Zhou Huayan slowly being submerged in quicksand. After being sad, he was even less of a match for Qiao Shaoqin. Jin Xianyu rushed to help. She was not a match for Qiao Shaoqin either. Zhou Huayan and Jin Xianyu were soon in danger. The duo was in a critical moment. Diao Buer suddenly burst out of the desert. He made a set of lightning-like bone-picking knife technique. The flesh of one hand and 1 foot of Qiao Shaoqin was picked cleanly. Then, Diao Buer burrowed under the sand again. Qiao Shaoqin saw Diao Buer's position under the sand. A sword stabbed down and then pulled up. Diao Buer grabbed Qiao Shaoqin's sword with both hands. He was thrown out by Qiao Shaoqin. Jin Xianyu pushed Zhou Huayan towards Qiao Shaoqin with force. Zhou Huayan used the force of Jingyan's push to stab Qiao Shaoqin with his sword. Qiao Shaoqin caught Zhou Huayan's sword with both hands. Zhou Huayan quickly pulled out another subsword from the sword, stabbing at Qiao Shaoqin's neck. The first swordsman of Ming Dynasty, the first powerful man, Qiao Shaoqin, died in the middle of the desert at the border in this way. Zhou Huayan escaped from the border with his 2 children. Jin Xianyu had Diao Buer set fire to the Dragon Gate in sunset. Evening sun. The great endless desert. Jin Xianyu takes Diao Buer with her to search for Zhou Huayan. That's it for today's ancient Chinese swordsman movie. Thank you friends for watching. If your friends like it, please like and subscribe. I will continue to bring wonderful ancient Chinese swordsman movies to my friends.